Hi guys, I am Robin Gorell. I am here in Topeka, Kansas. I am a level 5 circle achiever and I am here today with my sweet husband that we are just coming out of our morning crazy routine, and so I asked him if he would sit down. Actually, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and finally I pinned him down. He's a busy guy, so I've finally got him to do this video with me because Josh and I um, both, I have my own business with Rodan and Fields, and Josh also has his own business. And so a lot of times I get his perspective on things, and he's a man of many wits. He's always got the right thing to say. And so I asked him, I said, you know what? I want you, every time he says something, I think, I need to write that down. I need to write that down. And I never do. So I come to him all the time and I'm like, give me some of your wit. Give me something, one of your one-liners that I need to use with people. So, and how this all came about is that Josh started his own company in 2002, and a brick and mortar company. And so we have been through it all. And he didn't have, his cost was not $1,000 to start his company. I will tell you that. We went through a lot of rough times, and we weren't even married. So I was telling him he's lucky that I stuck through it, through all that, because it was a difficult time for us. But this was his dream. He wanted to do it, and so that's what we did. But he always told me when I got into this, and I always needed his reassurance because I wasn't sure that this is something that I could do. And the second month when I was turning a profit, he said, Rob, you're turning a profit your second month. Like, do you realize what you're saying? Because we didn't turn a profit from his company for some time. So anyways, I'm very thankful that he's going to sit here and give some of his wit and share it with all of you, because by the time I try to relay what he's told me, I forget because he has such clever ways to say it. So, and I'm integrating this in one of my training groups that I'm doing right now, because words are everything. And if you say the right thing to the right person, that's what it's all about. If you can make sense and say just what they need to hear. So some things that I always, I talk to him about, I'm like, objections. They're mostly objections that we face. And so the cost of, starting up, I'm like, what am I supposed to, people talk about the cost of this. And though people don't have our past experience, with the cost of an actual brick and mortar company, it's investing in your business. And I said, well, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. Like, what are some of the things you told me about that?
Well, it really comes down to cost of entry versus potential income and reward. I mean, whether they're spending $600 or $1,000 to get started with this, you can't do anything for that kind of money. Nothing. I mean, you can't start a Subway. You can't start, any business that people would deem as, a highly successful business, a Subway, McDonald's, a lot of the franchises, that are $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million to start. You're talking $600 or $1,000 to get going with this. Mm-hmm. You can be profitable in 90 days. Mm-hmm. That's a no-brainer, but it takes work, and anything does that you're going to do, and I laugh from the bleachers all the time when I hear her on the phone with people and they're going, oh, it's so much money. And it's like, what do you think? Do you think that you're just going to fill out a couple email forms and then money's going to fall from the heavens here? That doesn't happen anywhere, ever. This is a magically cheap investment and a huge reward. And I think it's a great deal.
And I think part of that, too, we talked about people are, they talk about time, not only just money, but then we get into the time objection. And so people say, I don't have time. I don't have time to do whatever you're doing. They see our presence on Facebook, which is good. But at the same time, they just say, I don't know. I can't do this. What is this time? And so Mr. Smart Guy, I'm like, I don't. What am I supposed to say to these people?
Well, I think you tell them, if I had free Britney Spears tickets, or if I called you with Garth Brooks tickets for tonight or tomorrow night, you'd find time. I think maybe you can.
I would.
Yeah. Maybe binge Netflix a little bit less. Instead of going to bed at 9:30, watching TV for an hour, cut that down to half an hour. There's time. They're just not using it. Those are sorry excuses, and they need somebody to correct them, to tell them, stop it. If you want this to be a success, you've got to find the time, because nothing worthwhile is going to be thrown at you otherwise.
And another thing he told me that kind of always resonates, and I remember, is that people a majority of the population of people are trained to, you get paid when you have a job. So you go to work and you do a certain amount of hours, and we don't have an hourly rate. We don't have a salary per se. We reap what we sow. And so when people work and they do these reach outs and they don't get any responses, or don't get any returns right away, it's just not how we've learned and not how we do things. And so it's hard for me to explain that to people, that and this is another good perspective from Josh, because I am very much, I'm a nurse by trade, and so I expected to know what I was going to get. And so I would say, I don't know what my paycheck's going to be, and he was like, welcome to my world.
Getting a paycheck is nice. I mean, you need that. You need money to survive and to support your family and to do things and to go to Britney Spears and Garth Brooks. But at the end of the day, in most jobs, you're trading your time for money. That's a fixed amount. It doesn't matter how good you do. Your money's the same. I mean, you might get a raise, you might get a little bonus, but most jobs are salaried or hourly, or however it's structured. You're not purely rewarded for the amount of work that you put into it, like you are with R&F or a lot of other commission-based businesses. Your result and your pay is completely dependent on your input. The harder you work, the more you're going to make. It's as simple as that. Follow the system, whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter if you love this. It doesn't matter if you wake up, doing jumping jacks every single morning because you're so happy about it. At the end of the day, if you're in this to make money, you follow the system. It's proven. It works. It's there. You don't have to invent it. You don't have to spend money on marketing and PR and HR and all these other things to make this business work, because it's already done for you. You follow it. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be creative. You just follow the steps. It's as simple as that. The more time you spend, obviously, the faster it's going to move. If you spend 5 minutes a day on this thing, don't cry in a month and a half when it's not working. Put some time, put some effort in it, follow the system, and listen to the people that have done it. You don't have to do anything different. You don't have to do anything better than your upline. Just do it the same. And it will work. Everybody does it, and it works. That's what she did.
And he would tell me all the time, he would say, once I showed him how this worked and what I was actually doing, he said, I wish I could do this with my business. I wish I could make this that kind of a duplicatable system that I would make money as other people were making money. And it's just doesn't happen like that with brick and mortar companies. It just doesn't. So, unless you franchise and you pay a lot more than $1,000 to start up, which a lot of you didn't. There's different. I'm just using the top dollar that the most that you would want to pay to start this. And I love this. He said you don't have to love it. I'm like, kind of do. You have to love it. Well, you like your job. You love what you do, right?
Sure.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do it.
It surely helps to like what you're doing.
But you love it a lot more when you're making more money and you're taking leadership retreats. Like I'm leaving tomorrow. Actually, I'm headed to Fort Lauderdale to join a bunch of other hot shots in my group. And Team Limitless and Team Conquer, shout out. So what else did we talk about? Network, or your networking saturation. So a lot of people, especially in the last year, people are like, oh, it's saturated, it's saturated. Topeka's population, where we live, is like 200,000 or
it's almost 300,000.
300,000 people. So it's not a huge city, and there's like small, basically, communities within Topeka. And so everybody, and the girls on my team will vouch, that live in this area, everybody is connected to everybody in one way or another. It's just not a big place. And so saturated, if somebody wants to say an area is saturated, this area is saturated. But the beauty of this virtual business is that I've got people in Utah, in North Carolina, Minnesota. We've got people on our team from Texas. I mean, they're all over, Nebraska. I mean, that's the beauty of this virtual business, is that I'm not confined or contained to this area. I mean, that's how I've grown, and I'm still growing. So, I've got a good friend that, lives in Colorado that has international contacts. Score. I mean, you have to find those people. They're not going to come to you. But, when you look, and we've got, again, part of the system that we have in place for us is to help you dig into the back of your brain and reach out to those people that are in your network. And they, I know a lot of trainings, if you guys have been through, there's a cold, warm, and hot market. A lot of our people are in our warm market, and those are, they could be anywhere from old friends to acquaintances, people that know you, that you know, and you reconnect with them. I think a lot of my, in my experience, is a lot of my warm market are the people that have joined me. So, and Josh always talked about, when I would say there's, people are complaining about saturation, he goes, well, that's good, right?
It's a good thing. That's brand awareness. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell a magic product that nobody's ever heard of. You want to talk to somebody about it, and they go, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. My neighbor's doing it. Great.
Awesome.
That's not saturation. That's awareness.
So, anyways, I said, that's great. I'm going to replace that saturation. Time someone says that, I'm going to say, not saturation, it's just awareness, right? What else did we talk about? Oh, some people are uncomfortable. These are just things that have come up in my 22 months of doing this. So people talking about, I just don't know if I want to, expose my neighbors or my family or my good friends, or I don't know if I should talk to those people because they might think something different of me. And I was one of those people. I very carefully, and until you have to have that inner confidence, that a lot of people you have to bring that out of your shell, but you just don't want to bother people. A lot of us are like, oh, I don't want to bother them. You don't feel like you're going to lose a friend. Well, first of all, I know not just from him, but other people are like, are those friends, those attitudes, those comments, those people aren't paying your bills. Those people aren't sending you on trips. They're not sending you a nice little coffee mug I just got in the mail today. I mean, it just, and after these things happen over and over, I think, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Why didn't I listen to the system that was put in place for me? I just, I would always, on these trainings, you see people like me and way other cooler people like Jesse Welty and Sarah LeBlanc that have been telling us this whole time, get the word out there. It's the most important thing you could do is just talk to people and tell them, expose your network, tell them what you're doing, because if they don't come to you, now that we're number one, we bumped a 49-year giant out of the number one premium skincare spot, people are going to know about this and people are going to buy it and they're going to join. It's just whether or not it's with you. So, Josh's analogy or his story for me was we're a little bit older, like we're not super old, but we watched Bob Newhart like back in the day when we were kids, and he goes, it's like that skit, and it's all over like YouTube and the internet, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh, the skit where the lady comes in and she's got a problem and she explains it to him. He says, I'm going to solve this. in 2 words. And she goes, really? You can cure me in 2 words? He goes, yes. She goes, okay. And he says, well, stop it. She goes, what do you mean? He says, stop it. And that applies to this too. If this embarrasses you, get over yourself. Do it. If you're worried about failure, don't fail. Don't do it half-assed. Get out there and do it the right way. Follow the system. You know, if people say no, you do it again. If that person says no, you do it again. You know, stop worrying about what people are thinking. You know, when was the last time your neighbor gave you $100? Probably never. You know, not without strings attached anyways. You know, it works. Do it. You know, if you need excuses, if you need more things to think up and reasons not to do this, the world's full of them. But you need to find your why and make it happen, because it's not hard. You just have to do it.
And it always, you know, everything that we say and every objection that you have to handle, you have to go back to why did you start this? Why are you doing this? And if your why is big enough, then it will overcome all those no's and those crappy people that have not very nice responses. Because again, those aren't the people that are, they're not building your life. And so, you know, people, you know, I've heard people sit back and say, well, I could never be like Sarah LeBlanc, or I could never be like Jessie Welty. Well, of course you're not. I mean, if you're taking the time, I would say, it's just like saying to my kids when I tell London to get in the shower. I'm like, you just wasted 5 minutes arguing with me about getting in the shower when you could be done by now. Like, don't waste your time. Some things that we get hung up on are either, first of all, probably number one is getting discouraged, because it can so easily happen, but and also comparing to other people. I could never do that. I could never be like them. Well, I'm pretty sure that when those girls started, before this opportunity came into their lives, they weren't quite for sure where they were headed either, but they knew this was an opportunity in front of them, and they ran with it. So, you know, we always tell people, if you want to treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. But if you want to treat it like a business, it will definitely pay you like a business, and depending on how you work your business. So if you work at part-time, it's going to pay you part-time as well. So I'm not sure. Josh and I, when I was asking him to do this video with me, we were on our way home traveling, having Easter, traveling to our Easter, my family for Easter. And I have to catch him on his good times. If he's at business and he's on the phone all day, he goes 100 miles an hour. And so I thought, if I catch him like mid-morning, right when he's been like hammering out things in the morning, he's going to come here and he's going to knock it out on my video too. We're on our way home from Easter, and he's just winding down, and he was just shooting out all these things, and I'm like trying to write them down, and I'm like taking notes, because I just can't, I don't want to forget this stuff. So I can't think if there was anything. People responding. We just addressed that. One of the things, I think it's in some of our newbie training, is a little graphic that talks about the percentage of people that respond on the first time is like very low, and that the majority of people that respond to messages are between the 8th and the 12th contact. And I go back, and some people that have joined me in business, just for sport, I go back and I look through our contacts, and it's been going on. Some of them have been going on for a year or a year and a half, different contacts that I've been touching back with these people. So consistency definitely pays off. It's just not always the right time, and you have to remember that as well for people, that sometimes the right time for them, you know, I always tell people, first of all, there is no perfect time. I mean, there's just not. There, you know, this month we've got, or this summer we've got baseball, and we're just crazy busy. And Josh just started another company. I'm so proud of him for. We're just too busy. This is not time for us to add on our plate. It's just not time. So, I mean, it's always something. So the part that's important for us to show people is how, you know, another part of the system is that there's so many different people of walks of life. There's doctors. I shared on a training that I did this morning that Miriam Steketee did like a live event, I think kind of a roundtable thing with like a doctor, a social worker, and she had people from different walks of life, and one of them was the director of nursing from NYU. How in the world did it make sense to that person? She's very smart. That's how it made sense to her, because she's, saw the potential in this business. So we have all kinds of different people and their resources, and you always know that the resources that you have are all over. You just have to find the right one to be able to point that out and to show people how it can work in their favor as well. So, is there anything else, babe?
The husband factor.
Husband factor.
The husband factor.
Yep.
I hear that one a lot. Yeah, I have talked to the husband. Husband doesn't think I should. And, I'm sure there's a wife factor too. Any guys that want to do this, they always have to check with the spouse, whether it be a male or female, whatever it is. But I'm going to call it the husband factor.
Okay.
Because it is. Whether it be a wife, it's still a husband factor. But they put the excuse onto the spouse a lot of times. Well, they don't think I should, or I'm too busy at home, or this or that. Tell your husband to call me. Robin will email you my phone number. Tell the husband or the wife to call me, and I will give you or them my perspective. Because I don't like to waste time on anything. I don't waste time. I don't waste money. I don't waste resources. And this is not a waste of either of those things. And I can tell them how. She can show them how. But if they need a second opinion, you have them call me.
I always offer. I'll say, my husband, he'll be the first one to tell you, So anyways, there you go. Husband factor. So the gist of this training was basically using your words. Sometimes it's not necessarily how you say it, but how people respond to it. So, I can say things just straightforward way, and Josh will come up with a Bob Newhart. Guess what? That skit, they said this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't understand how his brain works, but that's good. I don't need to know how to understand how his brain works.
And it's not saturated. Nike still sells plenty of shoes.
Yes.
The shoe market's not saturated either.
Yes.
This will be just fine.
Yes.
And they need it every month.
I mean, another example is the audio video. Josh is in audio video contracting. They're all over the place, and he's still doing just fine. I mean, these are brick and mortar companies, obviously, but we're a $1 billion company. We're the #1 premium skincare company right now. We're getting ready to expand globally. There's so much good going on that if you just use the right words for people that they need to hear, that's the approach it with their perspective sometimes as well, and try to help them understand. And so I hope this helped you guys, and I thank Josh every day that I have him. And I was going to point out that I have the best partner in life. I couldn't be luckier. But this does not take two people. Sometimes he just, we got married. We are put in this position for a reason, because God put him in my life to explain things to me, obviously, sometimes. So that you don't need a partner. Everybody can do this on your own. And all you have to do is follow the system, follow the training. That's it. So, words. That's part of all of what my training has been centered around, is wording and how to word things, and how to talk to people, and how to reach out to people, and how to follow up with people, and how to approach people, how to approach objections. So I hope this helped, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in.